The basis of institutional abuse is this, it's a command control institution, hierarchy, command, and a strict class system between commissioned and non-commissioned officers or other ranks. That military justice, which is the basis of that environment, gives complete discretion to a commander to discipline a subordinate.
Some people are, you could almost say, in their own war without even having left the country, so the institution can be an awful place for some people.
There are different types of institutional abuse. There's obviously physical abuse, which happens usually among men. There's sexual harassment and sexual assault. It happens to men and women, but it's particularly harmful for women after they've mainstreamed into the Australian Defence Force in the mid-1980s. There's other forms of abuse too, such as sabotage, reputational damage, and then a key kind of control and abuse that we see is administrative violence, and that's where that commander has complete discretion to discipline a subordinate. Military life is has a very strong sense of camaraderie and a very strong sense of teamwork or unit cohesion. And also there's a real sense of exceptionalism, that we do a job which civilians don't, and that people don't really understand the role and the kind of things that we're faced with. The Australian Defence Force, by very nature, is a very closed, insular organisation that seeks to avoid public scrutiny. This all amounts to it making it very difficult for people to raise their concerns. We talk about a vulnerability stigma in the military. You can't afford to be sick or vulnerable, so people sometimes don't report that, so that doesn't affect their careers. We also talk about the second assault, which we found in our research, and that's when someone might report command violence or command abuse, and then they become the target. So there's a real pressure to close down any sort of unwanted attention. This all kind of focuses on the code of silence, and that's this idea that anything that happens in-house has to stay in-house, and that we don't go around telling anyone else or talking to the public or even outside the unit about things. All these things compound to make social disconnection and isolation much stronger for veterans that are in that space.
I'm also dealing with 3 veterans that have complained about, one is bullying, one is about maladministration, and one is about sexual misconduct. And all of them have got their show cause, which means they are not staying in the force any longer, yet they are the victims of what's happened.
In our research study on military institutional abuse, we did about 80 interviews. For the Royal Commission, we provided findings on about 110 interviews, and now we've just done another 100 interviews for this particular study. It's quite clear in each of those population groups that the way in which the Australian Defence Force and DVA treat its people is a fundamental reason for veterans becoming disconnected, losing hope, and then for some of them attempting or successfully taking their lives. The abuse is the first straw. The way it's dealt with by Defence is the second piece. And it's often dealt with poorly, and that is a major causal factor for veteran suicidality as well. The Royal Commission has made 122 recommendations that covers a whole range of issues, from improved health services to improving the military justice system, also focusing on making a stronger transition. This preparation to separate from the military and go back to Civvy Street is an absolutely fundamental point for prevention and for support. Creating a new wellbeing agency, also creating a new way in which we deal with the veteran sector, so a peak body to look after that. And I guess the main piece is addressing Defence's inability for independence, or independent scrutiny. Recommendation 122 is the establishment of a Defence and Veteran Services Commission, and that's an independent body that will oversee the rolling out of the recommendations.
Part of Open Doors' plan is to keep the pressure up and ensure that those recommendations are not just filed away on someone's bookshelf in Canberra.